Hi, you're listening to Boggy Talk, Faith Conversations in the Mud, a resource of Church on Bayshore.
Well, thanks for joining us today on Boggy Talk. We hope you all are doing well.
Noggy Talk.
I'm sorry, Noggy again. I like the little music you had
the
with
little music
it.
we added to it. Yeah.
Nice touch.
Did you and PT just like play that?
We did. It took us hours.
Okay.
People wonder what we do all day. That's what we
wrote that.
do. We just play jingle bells.
Yeah. Well, it's the middle of December, which is a little crazy.
I feel that statement right there. Yes.
What is today again? Today is December 10th, right?
Yeah.
So, almost the middle.
That's a third
of December.
of the way.
Yeah, it's going to be here before we know it.
It's the middle of like real December.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. And it's been cold, so that makes it feel like Christmas.
I like
Very
it.
cold.
Sweater.
Yeah. Sweater weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The church is very festive.
It's all decorated. Thank you, Rhonda Marchman.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And team. And there's lots of Christmas parties going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have our big Christmas Eve service coming up.
Yes.
And what do we have like as far as invite cards, people letting other people know about it?
Yeah, we've got invite cards. There's
We're letting people know about it.
We're letting people
Please.
know. We've given those out. We
very
highlighted
political
that.
way of
That's right.
responding to
That's
our
right. Yes, we
question.
do. I affirmed the statement. Social media. It's there. We've run some ads there. We've got a billboard up. But ultimately, I mean,
We do?
we do have
Where's
a
the
billboard,
billboard?
up by the mullet.
Storage?
The mullet storage unit.
Okay.
Digital billboard there.
Do we just take Steve Shutt's picture and just say, like, because people won't notice the difference?
That's right. That's right. And then we, signs up. But honestly, people are going to come because they're invited by someone who comes here.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Right.
that's it. All the marketing, we could do all the marketing in the
Crosspoint
world.
has 10 times what we have anyway.
I mean,
so
they
they're gonna see
and they
that
do a
one.
great job at it. But I mean, honestly, it's our people.
invite.
Got to invite people, and people
Yeah.
will come when you invite them.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
will, especially Christmas Eve, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's a good
so we're
time.
having 4 services?
4 services. Hey, tell them about the photo booth. This is new this year.
Yes, so we have a photo booth this year. It's going to be in we call it the prayer garden.
People go out there
No,
and pray?
people actually,
I don't.
We
it
don't
just needs
know.
to be called the courtyard now.
Okay,
'cause
the
I've-
courtyard.
Why was it called the prayer garden?
Because you got to spiritualize
Oh, that's
things.
true.
I've gone out there and prayed before because it's a wonderful place to sit.
yeah, it actually
but,
is a nice little area.
Yeah.
So that's outside, kind of in between. We'll have a sign to direct people.
Okay,
but,
that's good.
Yeah, that'll be out there if you want to get a
Get your
picture
Christmas
with your
family photos.
family.
What if somebody's
Yeah.
praying in the background while you're getting your photo?
Then
Very spiritual
a
picture
prayer
then.
photo bomber.
Yes, photo bomber.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
goodness. Well, Christmas time is crazy for a lot of people, especially people in ministry, a lot of events and things going on. So what's on y'all's plate? What's in your schedule? What's going on?
So many Christmas parties. Here, I'll pull it
Lots
up
of Christmas
real quick.
parties. So we actually have a shared spreadsheet of
Oh,
all of
wow.
the Christmas parties that are going on in the church because of every life group does it, and we're thankful that they
Random
invite
groups.
us, which is great. And so we do try to make an effort to make sure that at every life group party that one of our pastors or staff members are able to be there, just because it's also great relational time with
Yeah.
people, and we value that.
And free
especially-
food.
and free food, and it's usually pretty good food too. And I think just especially as we've grown, we have to be intentional about staying accessible, relational, all those things. That I think we do a good job at it, and we have to make sure we're doing a good job at it. The more people there are,
Yeah.
So
I was actually telling my discipleship group this morning that I actually really enjoy that because typically my time is spent
Yes.
with like intentional people, staff, and then like marriage
Issues going
health
on.
issues.
Yeah.
And this is just like an opportunity to just like hang out
Talk.
with a lot of people.
and usually at Christmas parties,
Grizzy,
like
here we
no
go.
one is like trying to corner us to
Ask
like
important questions.
ask. I mean, and I don't
Yeah.
mean like in a bad way, but like
occasionally.
no one's
That's why I
trying
bring a
to.
kid.
Yeah, no one's trying to be like, hey, I've been meaning to ask you this question I have, or hey, I've got this going on. And if they do, it's fine. That's why we're here. But ultimately, it's usually just fun.
There are
relational time.
19 Christmas parties. on
Wow,
this list.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, so you definitely need. A
I'm not going to
spreadsheet
all
for that.
19.
No,
but,
there's
you know.
that's impossible.
We actually do a draft, and I get first round pick.
Okay.
you know,
Oh
so,
yeah. Who did you pick first?
Yeah, I'm not saying.
Not saying.
I was gonna say, what was the most fun Christmas party for life groups you guys have been to? You don't have to say
Ever?
the name, but
Ever?
ever.
I'm not going to go with a live crew. We had a staff Christmas party a few years ago where Steve Renna broke a table, and that was hilarious because it was Steve Renna breaking the table, the man who, he and Ward take care of all the properties, and the fact that we were doing a game, and he sat on the table.
And he's like the lightest of our pastors. So if I broke, I'd be like,
snapped it in two. It was
What kind of game was this?
It was group charades, and one person's guessing, and a whole group has to act it out. And I think it was like partridge in a pear tree, maybe. And you can't use words, and so he got on the table and tried to act like a bird or something, and it just snapped.
I don't remember
too.
any of that, but I remember the table breaking.
So fun.
I remember the table breaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this time is crazy because we have all these Christmas parties, and then we're trying to get a lot done by the end of the year.
There's a lot to wrap up.
Got to spend all the money. No, just kidding.
Budgets. We're trying to make sure everything's covered.
We know that for about 2 weeks there, anything we're trying to accomplish is not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I would say also too for us, there's a lot of people in our church who they're just grieving this time of year,
right.
And so you
for a
really
lot of
want
reasons.
to just slow down and be present. So I feel like there's a lot of context switching happening for us.
Yeah.
Right. And then you and I both have kids that play basketball, and this is a crazy time of year for that. You do,
absolutely.
Yeah,
we're basketball families.
Lots of games.
Yeah.
That's
I think being sensitive to people's needs during this time, because even though Christmas is this wonderful, exciting time, it is a heavy time for a lot of people because this is this time of year, and I think that helps make the beauty of the incarnation, it just makes it even more beautiful to us. But I think in terms of worship planning, you're dealing with all the feelings of people and the nostalgia, and the people want to sing all these songs, but also they just want you to sing.
Yeah.
we just want to listen.
Like a little more entertained.
And there, this past Sunday we had the choir. We did some extra Christmas stuff, and then we've got Christmas Eve, and trying to strike that tension and that balance of we want to do this super well, but at the same time we don't want to overdo it. We want to we don't want the production of things to overtake the actual meaning and the truth of what we're doing. I think that's the tension we're constantly managing here. So
that brings us kind of to the next point. How do you manage those tensions well then? That we have all of these things to do, but we have expectations, and that can be with staff, but it can also be with family and events and things like that.
We're not the only. I do think ministry probably is unique in the weirdness and craziness of December, but everyone is experiencing what we're talking about right now.
Exactly. The feeling of having to be at all the places all the time.
Specifically people who are not retired. I would say, maybe retired people are like, what you talking about, man?
Right.
We're going to cruise
it's the best time of the year.
How do we balance Christmas being, about our kids, but then also all these other work relationships and extended family. I think it's a tension to manage, not a balance to be kept.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, because there's just things that are going to happen that you just have to deal with, and you can't.
Yeah, I really feel like people who have found balance are out of balance, and they just have convinced themselves that they've found balance.
That they're in balance.
Yeah.
They're comfortable.
Yeah, they're comfortable. Yeah. So they're probably neglecting some major, people who don't serve their church.
Yeah.
And, and serve others, or help with their grandkids like they should. They probably feel pretty balanced.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, because serving and all of that is, it's serving, it's sacrificing, and so that takes time. I always, when they say that every yes is a no to something else, I try to think about that a lot. I'm saying yes to this. What is the no that I'm saying to? And managing that,
And I think different people's personalities struggle with that differently. I think people who are maybe more naturally extroverted or just like to be it, it's harder to say no to things. And then it's not just being an extrovert. It's sometimes for people, busyness is a coping mechanism to deal with. They don't want to deal with what they actually need to deal with, so they just stay busy. As long as I'm busy, and then that also.
I think
wears
this
you
is
out
turning
too.
into a therapy session for you right now.
I think for me it's hard to say no to things because there's so many hands in so many things, and we're working, staff wise to make that better. But I think. I think being still is hard for anybody, even if you don't like people and want to be alone. Like it's still, when you're alone, and you are faced with the things that you maybe need to address in your own heart. And if you don't do that and you're denying, that leads to a lot of issues.
So KB, do you have a hard time saying no, or is your name is no, your sign is no? You just have to let it go.
No, I think I'm extroverted, so
Okay.
I'm like, I like to be with people and
Okay.
do fun things and stuff like that. So I probably, but with that, I was thinking about this. There's people in my immediate family that are not like that. So then you have to be
Yes,
like respectful of
Yes.
them and, make sure that you're not, because
Yeah.
you keep saying yes, you're saying no to them in a different way. So that's,
I get energized from all this, Christy, my wife, is an introvert, and so she is like exhausted when we are
Right.
like, just going around people. And I have to be respectful of that. And I have kids too
Yeah.
who are also like, it's too much on them,
right.
So
Yeah.
And it gets, I think, more complicated to manage when you start talking about as the circle grows. It's like if you're intentional with the immediate people, I think that can be difficult, but it is somewhat manageable. But then when you start adding in the expectations of extended family and then other people who need things or want to do things, that's where you really have to start examining.
Yeah.
And we were having this conversation with our kids last night about some family dynamics and why things are a certain way, and just to be like, at the end of the day, when you say no to things that maybe other people want to do, you're going to disappoint people. And if you are doing your best and you're being faithful and you're not neglecting legitimate needs, you're just going to have to learn to be okay with people misunderstanding you
Yeah.
and maybe misjudging your heart, and be at peace with that. If you're at peace with Lord, and so far as it is with you, you're at peace with other people. Like, well, you're not responsible for how other people perceive things, so long as you're not intentionally, being a jerk
and
or
I
being
think
rude.
that's a
hard.
tension to manage.
It's
right?
hard,
because you could be also just the jerk who never does anything you don't
Right.
want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's true.
And like honor our parents, right? But also like, we have our own mental health and our bandwidth,
Yeah.
and I specifically, we just don't travel. I mean, because we go hard until Christmas Eve, and then it is such a sweet week. Usually about a week, our office is closed, and I am the minister on call, but usually there's not much going on, and I typically preach that Sunday just so that no one else.
Yeah.
Because I'm ahead, so like it's in my rhythms, and so it's 5 to 10 hours that week for me. Versus if I asked Justin to do it, that's not in his rhythm, and so it would be like a full work week for him, So I don't want to do that, but I still am paused beyond that, and so for our family, who wants us to go wherever, we're just kind of like no. But then with that, I have to recognize like, okay, how can I make concessions other times of the year to
That's a good
adapt?
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough though.
I think, in our community too, because we have a lot of military families. And so that pull for them to be traveling and all is a lot more. What do you suggest with people, like, I guess this would be extended family, they're either going overboard with their expectations of Christmas and you're not on the same.
No landmines here. I think ultimately, so if you're married, you and your spouse have got to communicate really well and work to be on the same page, because this, I think, especially this time of year, can cause a lot of conflict in families and marriages, specifically because most people want to honor their parents and figuring that out, and I think, I think of my parents, they're pretty low maintenance in terms of, and it's a blessing, they're just kind of like, hey, we understand, and we want to see you, but we're going to figure out how to make it work. And they're also at an age where they can do that.
Yeah.
Not everybody's in that same boat, but I think when you start having demands placed on you by extended family, you ultimately do have to say, what does it look like to care for the ones that are immediately I'm commanded to care for, my wife, my kids, and then what does it look like to honor those I'm commanded to? I'm commanded. The scripture says, "Honor your father." What does it look like at this stage of life to do that? and you got to communicate well through that.
And I would say that if anyone tells you you need to honor me, they are off base.
They're abusing that. Yeah,
they're right, but like even in marriage, like there should never be like I'm telling my wife to submit. Like the command isn't husbands tell your wife to submit.
Right.
The command is God tells wives.
Act in a way that
Right. And so like I do think there are some of us who have parents, and not me, but like that have parents who are like, you need to honor me. It's like, woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
I do, but you know, and I do think we need to listen to their heart and appeal. I would think this might be tougher for you because you guys have family here, right?
Yeah. I think that I'm blessed to at least have both sides of our family are very gracious in time. You know, my in-laws side is much smaller than my side, and then
but they're
my
very
side
tall,
is
so they're
they are very
actually they're not.
Oh, really?
But,
Okay.
we don't know where Chris came from.
Okay.
So, anyways, my sisters, their kids are starting to get married, and so now it's like. Now we have all these other people that are adding, and so it's just starting. So I'm kind of feeling like, oh, okay, things are start adjusting because then they, you know, they're trying to honor that side, their side of the family, and all that. So I think flexibility too. You know, people need to like seasons are going to change, and like you said, communicating, understanding the heart behind it, like. People just want to be together, and that's, you know, so my mother-in-law has been good. Like, it doesn't have to be this specific day. I just want to see you guys around this time. So I know not everyone is as fortunate to have that, but
and I would
it's
say,
been good.
Yeah, and I would say to those who are, and maybe the empty nester, your kids are grown, you really want. I think about when my kids are older. What do I want? I want them to want to be together.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen by forcing it, but by providing space for it, rather. So I would just say, like, are you in the way you talk to
Show
your
me
children,
the money. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying, like, you know, like
You want them to
need
want to be-
If you rent a house in 30A, your kids will probably come.
This is
But
true.
if you want them to cram into your house that they grew up in, they might not.
I'm just saying, like,
never know.
I was making more like
I just
the
teasing.
environment and the relationship rather than the actual
I'm
physical.
joking.
But that's true. It is true. You want to make it easy? That'll make it easy. But I do think, like, you considering how you are helping rather than trying to hold on to what you want. I mean, I think that's what we're, you know, and I recognize I say that not being in that season, and so I don't fully understand what that will be like, but I do know what I want, and I want to be like that when I'm in that stage of life. So.
Everybody's going to have to sacrifice.
Yeah,
something
exactly. No one's going to,
eventually.
if one person in your family dynamic is getting everything they want, that means everybody else is probably really miserable.
Yeah.
And you don't want
And
that.
there is that person sometimes.
There is, yeah.
And if you don't know who it is, maybe it's you. Isn't that what you guys always say?
Very true. Very
That's
true.
a good truth.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to be wrapping up Colossians.
Yes.
Very soon.
Nice transition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice transition.
Wrapping
Wrapping up
presents.
presents,
I don't
wrapping
know.
up Colossians.
What's next?
Joshua.
Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so we'll begin January 12th. So
Okay.
Colossians takes us to January 5th. And then, you know, things are back in full swing on January 12th, and we'll be into Joshua. And our first series is Joshua 1-5, and it's called Be Strong and Courageous.
Okay.
And we'll be talking about really being strong and courageous and learning from several things that took place there.
Yeah.
So, so I'm excited.
That's
So that'll be
exciting.
Joshua. I think that goes to about the summer, and then we'll be in Judges, and there'll be
Okay.
a break here and there,
Cool.
you know, in those two books. But that'll be 2025.
I don't think in the time that I've been here, I think we've been in the New Testament.
Yeah,
I don't
we
know. I
have
was
been
thinking
for a
about
while. It's been several years.
2020 is the last time.
Yeah,
I think we
2020
Oh,
we preached
for
through
sure
all the
then.
minor prophets.
Okay.
And
People needed a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a long time to go through Mark. That's why.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, Mark?
But that's
Right?
exciting.
Yeah.
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 I'm excited
It
to
took me a really
do
long
Old
time.
Testament.
Yeah.
And then
It's
it took
good.
me a year longer than I thought it would for Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians. That's
But
why.
it's
Wow.
good.
It's good stuff.
2 years,
So it's been wonderful.
Well, we'll be in the Old Testament next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
Those of you who want more law, I'm just kidding. There's such great stories and hard stories too in Joshua.
Such great fables.
Yeah.
That's what you sound like.
Oh, no, but
Such great stories.
such great. No, that's not what I mean. But I
great
mean, they're really
bedtime
are
stories
just
than Joshua and Judges. Judges.
Dude, Judges gets wild.
Yeah.
But, I mean, man, yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah,
With
will.
one of my kids, and it was David and Goliath. Like, I was trying to show him like a little kid's video of it because she was confused about something. After we watched it, she was like, "That was really scary." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Did you say, "You are not David"?
Yeah.
Did you yell
I don't
that
know.
at
It
him?
just
Yeah,
made
okay.
me like, I don't remember being traumatized by that story, but they were both like, "Oh," and it was a cartoon and everything
Oh,
too.
yeah.
But you
Oh,
know,
wow.
Old Testament is.
Scary
Yeah, I
picture.
mean, you grew up in
It's
Left
got some-
Behind, so nothing else
I don't think I've ever
traumatized
seen
you.
any of those movies.
I haven't
actually.
either.
Did you read the books?
No,
I read a few of the
Oh,
books.
okay.
Yeah.
Did you? I never read the
Yeah,
books.
yeah.
Nikolai, somebody?
I can't remember the name.
Yeah, yeah.
Carpathia.
Definitely did not get
something like
into that.
Yeah.
Well, backing up just a little bit, with Christmas schedule and everything, we have a little bit of a change to our church schedule. Why do we drop certain things like life group?
On
Yeah,
the 22nd and
'cause
29th.
we don't care about discipleship for 2 Sundays. The 22nd and 29th, there's no 8 o'clock service, and then the 20 and but there is regular kids ministry on the 29th. No life groups, no 8 o'clock service. It's
no
no
life
life
groups
groups on the
on the
22nd
22nd
too, as well. Really, it's because we recognize those 2 weekends there are a lot of people traveling. Also, our life group leaders serve a lot and they prepare a lot. And we wanted to say, hey, like, we want you to also rest. And I mean, truthfully, attention we manage as a growing church is that having life groups on Sunday mornings, while very convenient for discipleship for adults, is also very inconvenient for kids ministry and volunteers. So we need to give people a break, just rest and our kids ministry volunteers. That's why. And a lot of people will be traveling, honestly. So
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
lots of
myriad
travel.
of reasons. Yeah,
Yeah.
attendance will be slightly. We think it'll be slightly down on the 22nd, but it might not be. It could be packed that Sunday.
Yeah.
But and then the 29th. But yeah, we got the 24th, which is a big deal.
Christmas
4
Eve is a big
services,
deal, yeah.
And I mean, and truthfully, the church has been doing this for a long time
Yeah.
before me.
Yeah.
So don't be blaming me.
That's right.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Which
it's
I'll
helpful.
take responsibility, but
People
Yeah.
need that for sure.
yeah.
Well, here's one totally off-topic question.
Ooh, bring it.
Okay, college football playoffs.
Yeah.
That's why we're canceling life groups.
That's,
Yes.
that's right. Are they on Sunday? No, they're
No,
on Saturdays,
they're not.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
NFL's still playing Sundays.
Yeah.
12 or 4, and you might need to explain that to people who don't.
Do you understand?
I get it.
Okay, you
but
explain
I
it.
actually had to ask Chris. So.
Oh, really?
Let's see how good of a teacher he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
has
should
been
there be
teaching
12 teams or 4 teams in the playoffs, right? Because
Okay.
they changed it.
Yes,
Is
they
that
did.
right?
That is
Yes.
correct.
Okay, so last year it was 4 teams.
Yeah. Last year was 4. Every year that it's been 4, there's always teams that are left out that have arguably a decent case to be in it. Like last year, Georgia and FSU.
Yes.
Arguably both had a good case to be in there.
And the Gators.
The Gators have not
We're
had.
4-8.
No,
Yeah.
not
We're
at all.
4-8.
So, I mean, it was the same thing when
Maybe
there
we will.
wasn't. It was before
Can't
the
remember
4
if it was
team. There was
66
just the
last year
2
or 4-4.
team, and it was just the top 2. There was debate.
yeah.
So, really, this is a way to. All it does is it shifts the debate of who should be
All
in
it
the
does
playoff.
is it causes them to make a lot more money.
They make a lot more money.
Okay, yeah.
I was thinking about this. I like it because really it ensures that any team who actually has a shot at the national championship gets
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Right.
It shifts the bubble. I mean, the bubble teams, do they legitimately have a shot?
Probably not.
Probably not. Maybe it's not like the Cinderella story it's not like basketball, which is a little bit more unpredictable, I think. I think, and the reason they didn't do 8 is because they had to make the conference championships mean something, and so they get a bye the first round of the conference champions. So that's why it's 12 and not 8.
4 of them do.
Yeah.
Five.
So
Okay.
yeah.
There's 5
well,
So
yeah,
you're
it's kinda-
12. That's your.
and
what do you
also
think?
they got to fix the Notre Dame problem because they just get in because they don't play anybody, and then they don't have a conference championship. And anyway, that's
so you're
another
saying
topic.
The Catholic school rewrote the narrative.
Maybe so.
themselves.
I see what you did there.
Boy, wow.
I see
they
what
have a
you
history
did there.
of that,
Yeah.
huh?
Anyway, I'm in favor of it. I mean, it is also money, but it's it makes
It's enjoyable. I'm
Yeah.
gonna enjoy watching
Yeah,
it.
it's more fun.
And I will
Uh-huh.
say this has made, and part of it's the conference realignment, has made this season have a lot more bigger games, more at-stake games. There's a lot more, like, before with 4 teams, it's like once you knew you're out, what are you playing for? And so games later on in the season didn't matter as much. So I like it.
Yeah, because if Georgia Tech had beat Georgia, you guys probably would have been out.
Could have been.
Yeah,
I mean, really
probably.
will. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some people. It's so funny. I'm like, people throw such shade I have thought that the 4, they've got it right most years. The 4. I mean, I understand last year was kind of probably the most debatable year, but I've thought they got it right, and I thought we pretty much had the true champion every year. But people are again like, oh, they blah blah blah. I'm like, who else should be in? You know, because they're mad that Alabama and Ohio State and Georgia are all still for sure in. It's like, but they are 3 of the best 12. You know, I mean, Alabama's maybe on the bubble, but Miami, anyway. So I'll enjoy it.
It'll be good. I like watching college football. So more games the better.
That's true. Yeah. Well,
you got to NIL. You got to do something to make up because that's kind of ruining it for a lot of people. And the NFL is becoming a better and better product in light of how college football is becoming more pro focused.
Gotcha.
So you got to do something to kind of
make it
incentivize people. Yeah.
Well, lots to look forward to.
The Gators will not be in it this year again.
Oh, sorry.
They're getting better.
But neither will Florida State.
We know that.
By any means.
Lots of bitterness here. But we'll move on from
What an epic fall.
Yeah. What happened?
I think we need to end right here. This is a good place to end.
The FSU fan says we're done.
Well, lots to look forward to. Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Things, new series.
I love Christmas
Eve.
Be great. I do. I love it. And then I love when it's over and I go home.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I love the service. I love everyone being together. And I love that last song being done.
And we've got one more Boggy Talk, right? Next Tuesday. And then we're taking a break?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take a break.
Yeah. What we can do anything special for next week?
Yeah, I don't know. You tell me. I'm not really trying to remember.
We will plan that.
Okay, sounds good.
It'll be very exciting. All right. Well, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email me at kelly@churchonbayshore.org. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to Boggy Talk. We are so glad you joined in the conversation. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a beat.